Lydia here at Lydia's Leisurely Stitching. I guess I could have picked a channel name that's a little bit easier to pronounce and not such a tongue twister. But here I am back for our Flosstube number 3, and today I've made some notes so I remember everything I wanted to talk about. And my little assistant is here getting ready to jump up. This is Speckles. Speckles, you want to look at the camera? She's my little fur baby, and she loves to watch Flosstube. She has some favorites, and when she hears them come on the TV, she comes running. She doesn't like to look at cats, so I'm gonna make her disappear a little bit more. So this week here in Georgia, the weather has started to change. Last weekend was the end of daylight savings time, so now it's getting darker earlier, and the weather changed. We had some rain and it brought in a cold front, so now instead of being 100 degrees or 90 degrees every day, it's been closer to 60, getting down to freezing at night. It's really started to put me in the Christmas mood, and I have Flosstube to thank for a change in my thinking. Usually I'm one of those people that says Christmas does not start until after Thanksgiving, which here in the US is the end of November. But I've been watching Flosstubers from all around the world, and not all of them have Thanksgiving to get in the way of shortening their Christmas season. So I've decided Christmas can go ahead and start whenever I'm ready for it to start. So today I put on the winter green candle. It smells like a Christmas tree in here now. And I've been listening to Christmas music on my way to work. Don't tell anybody. I think they would all think I'm crazy, but I see the people in the UK and Australia, and they're getting in the holiday mood, and I'm ready for it too. So it's put me in the mood to do a little bit of holiday stitching. I don't have any projects started that are Christmas or winter themed right now, but that might change. I'll think about it. I thought that since it's starting to feel more like fall here, I would go ahead and show you my fall finishes, just 2 of them. So this one here, this is Sunbonnet Sue. It's a November pattern. It's from a Leisure Arts booklet that has a pattern for every month of the year and 2 patterns for every day of the week. So like Sunday you go to church, Monday you do laundry, stuff like that. Originally I got these about 10 years ago, and I had planned on doing 1 for every month of the year, so I could have a little monthly calendar, but I decided to cut back and just do 4, so I've got 1 for each season. Like I said, I started them many years ago, and this year I finally finished the 4th one, and I got them framed in matching frames. So this is the fall one. I really love the colors of the leaves and the little squirrel. I would like to do another fall pattern that's maybe like a squirrel with an acorn that's larger. If you have any pattern suggestions for something like that, I'd be open to seeing them if you want to leave me a comment. Yeah, so that's that one. And then also one I got framed this year. This is a Prairie Schooler from the November leaflet. This is the small pattern on the back of the leaflet. I added this border down here, which was on the top of the main pattern of the leaflet, and that turned it into a perfect square so I could frame it in this square frame. I made a couple of changes. The fox is supposed to be the same color as the house. I wanted him to be a bit more of a brownish red color, and I added a little white spot on the end of his tail. I believe this pumpkin, the colors were supposed to be switched, and I just switched them. And this pumpkin, it might be hard to tell, it was supposed to be these 2 brown colors. I made it a brown color and one of the lighter green color, because that's kind of more of what a white pumpkin looks like to me. So I got this framed earlier this year as well, and so now I've got some fall pieces to hang up in my home. So I had a good stitchy week. I'm just going to check my notes and make sure I'm not missing anything. Yep. So my goal, like I said last time, is to get 1,200 stitches a week on my main project, which is A Place of Her Own. I'll go ahead and insert a picture of what it looks like when it's finished and what it looked like last time I showed it to you. So here it is now. Last time I had about 300 stitches here to start this new page. I finished the first column and maybe column and a half. I've been working diagonally. I don't usually work diagonally, but I wanted to kind of motivate myself with all the black stitches. I did 1,700 stitches last week, so met my goal and went a little bit above and beyond, which is good. Total for October, I was about 400 stitches behind on my goal, so I did those extra stitches this week to catch up. Fold this a little bit more. So here is the start of the second sleeve. It'll match this one here, and it goes down to about there and then cuts over. So this week I'll start seeing something other than black, which is going to be a nice change. And I've already started a little bit of the sleeve there. So I've got a little over a third of the page done in a week and a little bit of change. I've already done my 400 stitches for the day up here. So 800 more stitches this week on this, and then next Sunday we'll start a new week, and I'll probably get those Sunday stitches in before I see you again as well. So, oh, and this is stitched on 18 count Aida. The color is sand. I kind of wanted it to be not white, more of an off-white, so it looks a little bit older. So there is A Place of Her Own. Now, I've only shown you this piece so far because I am mostly a monogamous stitcher. I mostly stitch on this one, and I have my year-end goal that I want to meet of finishing that page and one more page to complete the top row, so it's the complete width of the piece. Earlier this year, in end of July, beginning of August, I was lucky to go on a trip to Australia, and I spent 3 weeks there in their winter, which is in Sydney and Melbourne. It kind of felt like how it feels here right now, the start of winter. So that was interesting to experience and a nice change, because here in Georgia in the summer it's 100, 110, 90% humidity all the time. So it was nice to get a little bit of a break from the summer here and go experience winter in Australia. But I wanted something to commemorate the piece, commemorate my trip with, and so I started another piece while I was there. I went to Cairns, I hope I'm saying it right, and we visited the Great Barrier Reef. And so I started this piece. It's called Coral City, and it's also Heaven and Earth Designs. It's by Ciro Marchetti, and I'll insert a picture here of what it looks like when it's finished and where I was when I started at the beginning of the week. So I'll go ahead and pull that out. Guess I should have folded this one too. Here it is now. I'm still on the first page. I started it, like I said, in August, and I got about 1,200 stitches, maybe a little bit more done. This week I worked on this area down here. I filled in some of this color, and then filled in some of the confetti stitches along this transition here. I did start this going diagonally because all of this dark bit, it's 3 or 4 colors, and that's a lot to slog through. And it's ended up that it's kind of been beneficial to me because now this transition area here has, there'll be 1 stitch of a color here, and then 2 stitches here, and then 1 stitch here. So I can use the same needle of floss and do all 4 stitches at the same time. So the transition, while it is very confetti heavy, has been going much better. And I worked on this on Thursday, on the 8th, and I did a little over 200 stitches. So I would like to finish this page by the end of the year. In order to do that, I would need to do about 300 stitches a week on this piece. So I need some suggestions. My main goal, of course, is to work on my main project and get the page and a half finished. And then I would really like to do this one. I don't want to be one of those stitchers that has 100 full coverage projects started and then has, this much done. So I want to at least get the page finished. So if any of you have any suggestions on how I could work out a rotation so I could get both of these things accomplished before the end of the year, I'd love to hear them. Just leave me a comment and maybe we can figure something out. Right now I'm thinking that I might devote Monday to Coral City and then the rest of the days of the week to A Place of Her Own. I'll give that a shot this week, see how it goes, and see if I can stay on track with both projects. So let me just see. Oh, one more thing I wanted to show you. So I started Coral City this year, a few months ago. I've only worked on it, a couple of times. And I started A Place of Her Own 5.5, almost 6 years ago. And so I wanted to show you how the floss box has changed. So this is my floss box for Coral City. Let's see if I can open it without spilling it. And it is, all the colors are there. They're all bobbinated, full, pretty bobbins. Everything fits in nicely. And then after 6 years of work, the bobbins are falling down and raggedy because there's little extra bits stuck on them, and some of them are empty so they don't all fit in there anymore, and I think that's kind of funny. I like the pretty box of bobbins that are all full and all of the colors are there, so that's an encouragement for starting a new project. I do have another full coverage pattern that I would like to start next year. I haven't decided yet when I'm going to start it. I definitely need to meet both of my year-end goals before I can start that one, though. I'm thinking I'll probably devote a month to my new start so I can try and get a page finish on it when I first start. So I think that's all for stitching for today. I have done some reading this week. Right now I'm working on reading The Witches of New York by Amy McKay. I'm about a little less than halfway through with it. I'm really enjoying it so far. It's set in the 1800s in New York, obviously. And so far it's following 3 women who live in New York who have mystical powers of some sort. They're not all quite convinced that they're witches, but they're working together and darkness is coming. Something is going to happen, you can feel it. It's a very interesting book, and I've enjoyed it so far because all of the characters have a background, and I kind of like the sense of magic that surrounds the women. I do think that people have intuition and senses, and so it's interesting to see them using these intuitions and how it can be perceived in a negative light in New York in this time period, and how that stays the same and how's that changed in modern life. So I'll keep reading this one. I'm not sure if I'll finish it next week, but we'll see how things go. So again, I'm going to put out a request. I'm in the School of Magical Stitches group, Go Ravenclaw, but I've got a couple of books that I need help finding. So the year-long challenge is to spell out the name of the houses and the name of the school, Hogwarts, using the first letter of the title or the first letter of the author's first or last name. And I need some in books. So if you know of any great books that you've enjoyed and have any recommendations by an author whose first or last name starts with N, or the title of the book starts with N, I'd love to hear about it. So leave me a comment of any in-book suggestions that you might have. So I'm just going to look over my list one more time. Okie dokie. So I think that's everything. I'm gonna move you down a little bit. There's my kitty helping out again. So thanks for watching, guys. I hope everyone's doing well, that you all have a wonderful week, and I'll see you next time.